St. Peter's Volkswagen in St. Louis. Hello there, Andrew. This video is for you, but I'm also posting it on YouTube, so I kind of wanted to address everybody. But Andrew, I want to go over some things with your car here. Thank you for purchasing from me. Thank you for making a trip up from Atlanta, Georgia to St. Louis to buy your car. First off, you have one touch up, one touch down on all four windows right there. So just with a little flick, you can push down on that and the window drops, pull up, and now the window closes again. You've got that on all four windows. There is your window lock. So it makes your windows in the back kind of child resistant. They can't mess with them when you lock that out. It lights up yellow when you get that. Up here, you have your mirror controls. So there's an L, an O, and an R right there. L is for left, O is for off, R is for right. Down below that, right there, that is your power folding mirrors, and they fold in. Turn that back out, and they open back up. This button right here, that is your heated mirror. That button right there, or that little icon there, that's what the position it's in now. That does not have a shut off, so if you're done with that, you make sure you turn it back to the old position when you're done. Fog lights and headlights are all right here. The headlights auto setting right there, pull out on that guy right there. This little icon right here lights up, so now that means your fog lights are on. If you pull out on this lever here to get fog lights on, it defeats the automatic on-off nature of the headlights, and the headlights are always on along with the fog lights. So push that back in when you're done. Also, these other icons here, that's your parking light in green, and then that's your regular headlights in white right there. There is another feature on the car. It has something called the cornering feature. When I turn this wheel to the left fog light comes on. When I turn the wheel to the right fog light comes on, and that's only when the headlights are on that function works. But it's designed to help light your way as you're driving. So if there's a steep ditch or something, or a steep drop off, you can see that on while you're driving. For your vent settings, this guy right here opens and closes the vents, sliding it left or right. You can hear it click shut. You can hear it open that way. To the right, it closes it. To the left, it opens it. And then that louver adjusts the louvers up and down. You also have the defrost vent up here. On your digital cockpit, I have it set in that widescreen mode. Down below right here, here's your view button. So with this view button, I can change it to a crop screen and a dial screen, or I can go back to the widescreen. Also, with that view button right there, I can touch and hold, and that brings up that back menu right there with the auto, classic, view 1, view 2, view 3, where I can change settings in there. And by arrowing up or down using these buttons right here and selecting OK, I can change how that's displayed up there. Temperature gauge is right there. Fuel gauge is right there. If you can see that with the sunlight, that's your fuel gauge. The white lines go all the way up to full. As you start to consume, they drop down. Once you get to here, these 2 bars, it drops into 1 bar, and then the light turns to a flashing red light, and you'll have a yellow fuel light that shows up right here in the tray. And it'll show you, you can also figure out how many miles to empty you have when you're using that. Now, arrowing across using these little silver tabs here, that's my following distance for the car in front of me. By pushing this button right here, I can adjust following distance or following intervals. Okay, by arrowing across yet again, there is my fuel range, miles to empty. So the fuel light's about to come on. Then I also have my speed, oil temperature, trip, odometer, fuel economy, an overview, fuel range again, and then speed. And I'm just using these arrow up or arrow down buttons here. And now that's selected. And then I can go across, and I can also arrow across to my phone and also to a radio station. And then I can change the radio station using these up-down arrows here again. In this tray right there, there's your gear on the widescreen mode, and there's your speed over there. And then the navigation is going to show up in the middle here once I go back to it. There you go. To zoom in on navigation, I just hit this arrow button right here. I push in on it, or push the top one, and now it's zooming in. So it's getting closer to the ground, so to speak. This guy right here is your roadside, your road or your lane assist. icon. That will turn green once you hit 40 miles an hour, and the camera that's behind the rearview mirror sees painted lane markings on the road. Leather wrap steering wheel, the flat bottom there, so you can drive with it closer to your lap. Volume controls right here. So volume control controls the stereo, navigation, and Bluetooth. It depends on what you're currently active in as to what it controls. So if you're listening to radio and hit that, it's going to change the volume if on the radio. And if you're listening to turn-by-turn navigation when you hit that, it's going to change the volume on navigation. And if you're actually listening to Bluetooth in a phone call, it's going to change the volume of the phone call by hitting that. Down here, before I forget to touch on this, here's your power lift gate for the back. Just lift up on that handle and the lift gate opens. To close that lift gate, same switch, pull up and hold. Until it latches, and then you're done. Okay, so turn signals are right here. You have a quick 3-signal flash right there just by flicking it. Or you can lock it in and it turns that way. Wipers right here, push down on this guy right here, and one time the wipers go by. You also have rain sensing. In the first click there, they're going to do a confirmation swipe. Then there's an intermittent and then also a high setting there. There's also a fine tuning button on top here that allows you to adjust the speed of the wipers there. So left is light, right is rain. See, it's a tiny raindrop to the left and a larger one to the right. Also, on your radio, AM, FM radio with satellite and that backup camera. I think we went over that. Trajectory steering. It shows you where you're headed at the yellow line. The green line is straight back, and the red line signifies where your bumper is. Okay, so for AM, FM, and satellite, touch the radio button, there's AM. Touch it again, there's satellite. You get the subscription change button once you're active. And then there's your radio stations. You have 18 presets for AM, FM, and satellite. As you're traveling back home, if you're traveling through cities you're not familiar with the radio stations, use the station list set up there. It's going to show you all the radio stations that the antenna sees. So you can scroll through this way or use this knob over here, and it's going to show you every visible radio station to your antenna, and you can pick one that way. So that way, if you're traveling through Memphis or something and you're not familiar with the radio stations, you can just select that way. Also, navigation. Navigation is there. The main screen is over there. The driver's screen behind the digital cockpit behind the steering wheel is right here. If you decide you want it over here, just wave your hand in front of the screen, touch right there, and now it brings it from here over to here. That north button there is pointing true north. If it's pointing straight up, you can have a setting where you can change it to true north, or you can have it pointing back. It's grayed out, so I can't touch anything with it right now, and it's also on 3D mode. Climate controls right here. You also have heated seats, ventilated seats. You can run those at the same time. And then you also have your buttons here for maximum defrost, rear defroster. Also, here's your climate control for up front, air care, all those setups right there. I'm going to go ahead and turn these fans off because I don't need that. Air care is your filtration inside the car. And here's your maximum AC button. That's going to give you maximum AC at the front. They can cool the car down in like 2 minutes. Also, you have maximum defrost that works the same way. They're both super loud with the fan on high speed there. Heated steering wheel button is right here. And then your auto start stop shut off is right there. So when the car does the auto start stop at the stop signs or red lights, if you don't want that feature to be active, you just hit this button here and it illuminates yellow to tell you it's off. Next things down here is your electronic parking brake. You just pull up on that guy to set it. Foot on the brake and push down on that same button right there to release it. These two buttons here, this is your 360 camera. Pushing that gives you the overhead view. There's a camera in the nose, in each mirror, and in the rear. I'm going to turn this fan down. So I can touch a corner and change the view. I can touch the nose and get the front view, touch the rear, get the rear view, touch the side and get the side view, and what have you. On each side, I can touch the center at the top, and it brings me back to overhead 360. That's for that camera right there, and just I can turn that off.